Titan Fitness sent me a second bench to address the problems I encountered with my first. Absolutely great customer service. Now let's see if this second bench is any better than the first and if it fixes the issues we encountered. As usual, at first I like to give you a tour of the packaging, and you could see that this box is in much worse shape than the first one I received. There's a big gaping hole. I don't know, I guess FedEx hates Titan Fitness, I don't know, or my house. Hopefully nothing fell out of that hole, we'll see. Seat cushion, instruction manual, the back cushion, head cushion, leg rollers, and this looks like how the hardware is shipped in this box as opposed to the way it was packaged up the first time. Now, first impressions, it looks like the finish actually on the parts is slightly better than the first bench I received. So I'm really curious to pull this apart, put it together, and see what it looks like. Let's go up to the loft gym and take care of the fun part. Okay, we're now up at my loft gym, and we're ready to put this bench together. Here's the first one that encountered all the famous issues documented on YouTube. Here's the new one we're gonna work with right now. Let's take it out of the box, examine the parts, and put it together. Let's take a look at these parts a little bit closer. First thing I immediately noticed is that there's now bushings in the center pivot of the backrest support. Bushings there and bushings there. So now we have 3 pairs of bushings like we're supposed to. That's interesting. And also, overall, the finish on the bench appears to be better than the first one I received. Not as many marks and scuffs, although to be sure, there's enough of them to go around. The other thing I noticed is if you look at this backrest adjustable frame, you could see that this side is bent. We'll see if that has any effect on the assembly. Finally, I'm super curious about the hardware that I received. So let's pop that open and see what we got. First, it's just a Ziploc bag. Not a nice sealed up package like we got the first time. But the holes are minimal. Hopefully everything is here. The end pieces for the leg rollers. The pop pin for the adjustable back. The handles for the adjustable frame. And the axles for the wheels. Speaking of wheels, you could see no more rust. The bearings look clean and new. That's all we got for hardware, and hopefully it's all here. Okay, I'm not gonna go over the assembly step by step. If you're curious how to do that, please watch my first video. It's very detailed. goes over each individual piece, the instruction manual, and how to put the bench together. Here, I'm just gonna put it together and then we'll see what we got once it's done. Okay, installation to this point went fairly smoothly with the exception of a couple minor issues. The first one was that the bar here where the wheels will attach has a steel plate welded to it, and it was very tight getting the bolt in. I actually had to thread it in. It wouldn't just slide in. So that's one issue. The other issue is that you could see the pop pin here, it goes in crooked. So it's a little bit hard to thread that in, and it's a little bit on an angle, but that appears to be working okay. Finally, what I noticed here for the seat pad is that when the seat pad is on here, it actually impacts right there. This thick part of the seat impacts this post and doesn't allow the seat to drop as far as it should. You could see there's a daylight between the seat support bracket and the seat itself. So once I screw the seat on, we'll see how that works out. Those are the issues I've encountered so far. Other than that, I'm pleased to report that the screws for the adjustable frame now are long enough. What they've done is take away the sleeve that goes in the middle of the back pad support, just drilled holes and put bushings in there. So that solved that problem. And this bolt is long enough as well. So my major complaints have been taken care of. Let's finish putting her together and see if it works out. First, as I mentioned, this piece of the seat interferes slightly with the post in being able to allow the seat to go all the way down. So it's just a little bit of cush there. In the back here, you could see the space for this wheel is too wide, and the space for this wheel is narrow to the point where it won't even drop in there. So we'll pull that apart and make sure the wheel goes in. Also, the vinyl on the back of the bench here, for some reason on the main pad, it's extremely thin. Different than it is on the headpiece and different than it is on the seat piece. Very thin material here. I may swap it out with the old bench before I send one of these back. Finally, and this is hilarious, the shaft that they gave me for the leg rollers is not long enough. You could see it way deep in there. So the leg roller piece here is useless. I'll probably just keep that one and send this one back to them. I also wanted to mention that we no longer have any of the elongated holes on where the plates are to secure the seats. So they got the holes correct. I had no issues lining any of the bolts up like I did in the first seat, but I can see that some of these plates are slightly bent and everything is just hand tight right now. So once I tighten it up, we'll see how the finished product functions. One other thing I wanted to mention here is that the U here for the front feet had a little bit of a rough go of it. You could see it's kind of duck-footed there. Okay, attempted to use my old bench with the new backrest and frame, but I'm running into some issues. Right now we're looking at the adjustable frame sitting in the next to last notch here. So there's a slight incline to the overall bench. If I want to go to the flat setting, I would typically lift and just drop the bench into the flat setting. But as you could see, this notch is preventing the frame from dropping into the last notch here. So the twist in the frame is causing this to ride metal on metal as opposed to plastic on metal. So if we want it to be truly flat and truly secure, we have to push it over to the side. And now that bench is flat and the frame is locked in. So it's actually a little bit dangerous, not safe. You either have to manually set that each time or try to bend it so it drops in by itself. Here, take a look at the action as the bench goes from setting to setting. Now this could be because I transplanted the backrest and the frame from the new bench to the old. So let me put it back and see if the new bench functions better. Unfortunately, the situation is identical on the new bench. As a last resort, I'm gonna try to flip the adjustable frame so this piece attaches to the bench and the bench side comes down here, and see if that helps. Okay, flipping the frame actually made the situation worse. As you can see, it's now riding even more to the inside of the notch and off to one side. So I think I need to reach out to Titan Fitness and ask for a new frame piece. This is not workable. Okay, you can see I tried this 10 different ways between two benches and I still don't have a good working bench. So this is my update number 2 and it's still a fail overall. Very disappointing. You can see I'm sweating, put a lot of effort into messing around with this benches. It shouldn't be this hard. It should go together correctly the first time, and that's it. Unfortunately, that's not what we have here. So at this point, despite the great customer service I received from Titan Fitness, I cannot recommend the 1,000-pound bench. Please stay away from this one. Save yourself the headache.